I know I said I wasn't going to do this, but that was before I decided I was just going to do whatever the fuck I fancied on my channel again. So I decided I was going to do the final season of Dawson's Creek because, like I said, I've stopped giving a shit about anything else because it doesn't matter what I fucking do. Half the time, I don't get any views or not many views initially, except from the odd lucky video, and all the others just, for the most part, sit at 50 views. So, seeing as my last Dawson's Creek video is now at around 100 views, why not? Why not? So I'm just starting the first season. I did not remember Joey's self-recap at all. I forgot she didn't go to Paris. And then once again, the will they, won't they of her and Dawson. She didn't go to Paris, but she also didn't speak to him literally at all summer. So yeah, great. From memory, there's a lot of things that happen in this season. And I don't remember how all of those things happened when it's supposed to be, like, what, second year of university? Like, why does Pacey look 35 years old? What is this? I hate it. I hate it. There we are, I guess. I don't remember where I was watching this before, but it definitely wasn't on Amazon Prime. Because why is Amazon Prime bleeping out the fucks? It's bleeping all the fucks out. Where was I watching this before? I'm not watching something that's gonna bleep every swear word. Hear the voices Dawson's Creek. Yeah, it's just showing me Prime Video. I don't, what the oh, here we go, ITVX. Why can't I'm gonna have to go to the app. I am aware there's strong language, thank you very much. That's partly why I'm watching. The swearing is bleeped out on this one too. I'm so confused. I don't remember this being a thing. I know they don't tend to swear much in this show anyway, but for one, I think I'm finding Joey more and more annoying, actually. Because, like, letting a boy get in the way of you completing an impossible challenge anyway, you were given by an absolute arse of a lecturer to then be shown up in class because you only read one poem? How did you only read one poem all day? And then the guy who showed her up, it's Garrett. That's not his name in the show, but like, he's been in so many things, but I mainly think of him and know of him as Garrett from The Cleaning Lady, which he's not in anymore because he fucking died in season, is that 2 or 3? Like right at the end, was well upset. Most recent season, obviously, did not have him in. And then the actor of the other leading man died. So he wasn't in it either. But yeah, Garrett's sexy. Garrett's hot. Hi. Hi, Garrett. Garrett closer to my age, Garrett. I hate that man. Graham's also going to the university. Number 1, slay. You go, girl. You get that education. 2, trying to wingman her granddaughter. I also don't know why. Oh, what is her name? I can't remember her name. The blonde one? I don't know. I don't know why her granddaughter is so mad at her for like having a friend / dating somebody. It is interesting seeing the differences in the characters' maturity and how that does or does not progress. Because, like, I think we saw Pacey trying to be an adult last season, but this season he's, like, a lot more serious about being a responsible adult. But he obviously is still dating Audrey, who has no interest or intention of becoming a responsible adult. I mean, honestly, if I were her and was as cool as she is and had very rich parents, I also would not be interested in growing up. However, that and what Pacey was discussing in the first episode about his summer with her, more exhausting than he ever expected, and also like being thankful that it was over, which he didn't feel when he spent that summer with Joey. We are seeing the cracks again in their relationship. And also the irony of like he is becoming an adult in a way that would be suitable / approved by Audrey's father, because he's gone for this. It was supposed to be an interview, but they seem to just be accepting anybody who will do the job. And it's stockbrokers. I don't know anything about that. Finance, I'm assuming. I don't know. It's the slippery slope of him trying to become something he's not and something he doesn't actually want to be, because he's kind of always been a little bit lost. He's never had the same opportunities or the same obvious talents, and definitely not the same support systems as anybody else he knows. And I think we know that education wasn't really suitable for him, wasn't really his vibe. It's just so, I don't know, it's so sad and such a shame that they didn't follow through with Pacey having a dream for performing, for acting, particularly when Dawson's still going into directing and stuff anyway. Like, he definitely still could have been doing a lot of typical minimum wage labour kind of jobs, like being a waiter, being a bartender, or, you know, all those sorts of jobs that most actors have, or at least especially did back in like the 90s and early 2000s. And I know he's kind of supposed to be the kind of hopeless one, the one without a dream, the one without a talent, that sort of thing. But it would have been nice to have had at least a little bit more hope generally through these seasons, because most of his hope just kind of disappears when they all leave high school. Also, considering there is supposed to be like a reboot spin-off thing where they returned, it isn't on any of these platforms unless it has a different name that I just haven't seen. It doesn't seem to come up, so was it that bad? I mean, I think it'd probably be that bad. If you think I should like find it and watch it to react to, let me know, because I might do that. I think Dawson should probably have not slept with Joey before breaking up with whoever he was dating, even if it was casually dating, because did they use protection? Was she consenting to sex with somebody who was sleeping with more than one person? Technically no, and as usual the men don't agree. Yeah, Joey's being a little bit over the top about it, but for one, it's her birthday as well, and for two, I agree with her. I wouldn't want to start something. I wouldn't want to sleep with somebody for the first time who I've been pining after for my whole life when they're actually seeing somebody else, even if it is casually or open or whatever. How is Pacey 20 years old, but we just had Joey's birthday and she was 19 and she's a fucking Virgo? What do you mean he's 20 years old? Hello. I'm just wrapping a parcel, so I thought, why not use my microphone, so I can talk as well. Pacey and Jack have moved in with a random British woman who I don't know if she's actually British. I think I've seen her in something before, but I can't think what it is. And she's honestly kind of annoying. I'm not fond of her, honestly, like at all. But like, she's being less of an annoying buffoon with Joey. Joey is now working at the bar with her, and sexy Garrett, whatever the fuck his name is in the show, but he'll always be Garrett to me. And she, whatever her name is, fake British lady, is in a band and she's about to ask Audrey to sing for her band. And I think, I don't know whether I'm correct in my memory of this, but does Joey sing for her band at some point, or does she just sing for something else? Like, I know she gets up to sing at some point, but like, I was just thinking about Garrett and thinking about Pacey. I feel like they are very similar men, and that's why Joey likes them both. They remind her of each other. All the leaves are brown, all the leaves are brown. Oh, did I leave the parcel tape downstairs? Ugh, annoying. Annoying ass. But yeah, they both have a very similar sense of humour, very dry, deadpan. They both get a lot of joy from winding Joey up because she's a little bit too serious. And I mean, she had a bit of an argument with him in one of these early episodes where he's like, why are you angry? And she's like, I'm not angry. I'm not angry at anyone. And he's like, no, you're just angry. And I feel like that's me. But also, like, he's really angry. He's not the most chill man. He's just kind of like, yeah, sullen, angry looking man. I think the main difference between him and Pacey, besides their education level, is also just that Garrett is like obviously sexy. He is way more stylish than Pacey ever could dream to be. That's one of his downfalls. Sorry, Pacey. Your sense of fashion is atrocious through most of these seasons. And that fucking goatee is not helping your case, babe. Even though he has a very simplistic look, he's just like well put together. 90% of the time, he's in basically all black or like a black, nicely fitted t shirt with jeans. He's currently got like a denim jacket on. He's got like, he seems to have the same hair currently as he has in this show, and he looks great. Yeah, it's just really strange because the show that I was watching that he is in, I already like kind of thought he was sexy anyway. Even though he's like 50. I don't know, like 40 odd, 50 odd. Although I can't say I don't also feel the same way about Pacey's actor because I watched the show Doctor Odyssey, which stars Pacey's actor Josh Dawson. What's his name? Josh Jackson? Is that it? I think it is. He's really hot. Like, he can call me, you know? Like, his hair is so nice. Like, both of their hair in this season, or at least at the start anyway, I think Pacey shaves his hair later. They both have really luscious hair. What's your routine, babes? Whip out that vlogging camera and let me know what your hair care routine is. Thank you. Pacey has to try really hard to be seen as attractive. He's always had issues with finding people who are also attracted to him back. To be fair, he's had that pretty typical cishet white man thing of like expecting hotter women to be interested in him. So when less hot women are interested in him, he's sort of like, what the fuck? But then he's like, well, I'm not getting any, so why not? You know? And always fucking up when he does get super hot women. Whereas this guy just kind of seems like partially he doesn't give a shit because he knows he can pick up who the fuck ever, but he doesn't want to. And they're both just really hot. Like I don't remember liking him the first time I watched this season. It's been a long while since I watched this season. Don't know when I watched it actually. What I don't think it was as long ago as 2020, but sometime between 2020 and 2022. Like I don't remember liking him. But maybe it's because one, I hadn't developed my emotional attachment to him like I have now got from watching The Cleaning Lady. And then two, he is competition for Pacey. And I love Pacey. I am like a strong Joey Pacey shipper. Like you cannot take that ship out of my cold dead hands. Whilst so far he has not done anything really terrible to Joey. He is generally hotter and also more educated and hopefully has a better future for himself job wise. That just means he needs to marry me. He's not real. It's fine. But if you look like Garrett's actor from like the early 2000s, call me. My number is 07. He's just so hot. I can't help it. He's so hot. I also feel like that these are the only two men who are able to challenge Joey in her thinking in a positive sense, because she's just like kind of initiated an apology slash like trying to resolve what's going on between the two of them with sexy Garrett. And she's like, I think we've both been a bit immature. And he's like, we've both been immature? Really? And she's like, well, I know I have. And then he goes, don't do that. Don't take it back. Don't concede like that. Because if you go into our lecture hall and back down like that, our professor's gonna fucking eat you alive, girl. And it's like, Dawson would never do that. You know? Dawson would never. Dawson could never. Dawson does not have the emotional capacity or depth of character. This man who I've known for maybe 6 episodes has more depth of character than Dawson Leary. Jack is still struggling in school. My poor precious boy. My poor precious little gay boy. He's also giving dyslexic as fuck vibes. He's giving off gifted child ADHD in high school, can't hack it, university student. I mean, like his first year or semester or what the fuck of it, I have no idea what's happening. First year, I guess, he really did slack off a lot because he was in that frat. And like, fair enough. Like, I don't think you should have to work super hard, like ever at all. Like, especially not constantly. And I think first year of university is meant to be like an adjustment period. You're kind of getting the grips of it all, blah blah blah. But like, it's so sad the way he goes up to this teacher who he really likes, and I think everyone thinks he might be gay, even though he's married with a baby on the way. I mean, why, bro? Why are you fucking going to college students' parties? This was the thing I mentioned in my last video I made. Was like these weird setups in American college plots where for some reason their fucking lecturers are always like hanging out, going to parties, throwing parties at their own fucking houses, living on campus, you know? Like we did have some staff who lived on campus, but that was more for like a mental support kind of role 24/7 for all the students that did live on site. There was only a few of them, just as like a safety precaution, you know, like staff who are lecturers or whatever else. I can't even think what the fuck they were, but yeah. But they didn't come to our fucking parties, man. You know, like, what's going on? Yeah, anyway, Jack going and speaking to his lecturer about the grade he got on an assignment he thought he did well on, and the teacher said at the party, oh yeah, I really enjoyed your essay. And he's just a fucking liar. He's just a liar. You know, he's just a liar. Oh, just a liar. Oh, I enjoyed the content of your essay. However, everything else about it is a piece of shit. Like, he's basically like, yeah, you need some help with, like, structure, shit like that. I can recommend you some books. You know, he's, like, very hot and cold with this kid. And it's like, maybe, hang in there, maybe you should be a normal person and not go to fucking college students' parties and be really weird. But basically, he's teaching a class that basically I would take or teach, which was about I can't remember exactly what he said, but it's something to do with media stuff. Jack and Jen, I forgot her name in that earlier clip. Jack and Jen are doing this class together, and Jen's actually done really well, even though she's not trying as hard, supposedly, even though she worked really hard the other week. You know, like, I don't know who the writers were for these, especially these final seasons, but like, you know, Pacey somehow being 20 years old when Joey just turned 19 and she was the oldest of the three of them anyway. And okay, Wait. I have just realised I was slightly wrong about some birthdays, but I still don't know how this makes any sense. I remembered that Pacey doesn't have a specific birthday. It's sometime at the beginning of like the calendar year. So like January, February time. Joey does have a canon birthday and it is in May. But now I have the question of what fucking year is it? Like what? Because that can't be. That just can't be correct because we come up to their Christmas break. Like we come up to Christmas before we come up to summer. So somebody has just really badly fudged the birthdays. I have no idea. Again, further critique on the writers of this season. They just they just had no fucking clue or care in the world about when any of these characters' birthdays actually were. So like, sure, maybe Pacey could be 20, but then that would mean that Joey is turning 20 as well, not 19. That part still doesn't make sense as well. A lot of this just like really inconsistent dialogue, really, between characters. It's just a bit like, that's not, that doesn't make sense. That's not true. Why are his dogs out? His dogs are out. I don't remember this plot point at all. Garrett's name is Eddie, for a start. He's just stood up for Joey in class, being like, well, if you stop being such a fucking prick all the fucking time, maybe you shouldn't be so fucking nervous to do literally anything in your fucking class, you dickhead. Fuck you, man. And then the teacher just starts laying in on him and talking about pseudonyms and pretending to be somebody you're not. Blah, blah, blah. So, like, obviously, the context is Eddie is not who he says he is. But who the fuck is he? I don't remember this at all. Maybe it's because I didn't really care as much because I wasn't really invested in him the first time round. But now it's my sexy Garrett. I am. I guess I'll tell you when I find out. Audrey just looks so good in her like punk girl outfit. Like we need more alternative goth punk etc girls and guys and non-binos on our televisions. I'm so fucking bored of everybody looking like a boring odds body. I don't fucking know. I couldn't think what word I wanted to use. But she looks so good. One, Audrey was asked to be the singer because she sang really well in the shower. She's not singing. She's singing. She's screaming. I mean, obviously vibes, but like she's screaming. You don't need to be able to sing like that. Why? But also, I think she's just singing. All the leaves are brown. All the leaves are brown, and the sky is grey, and the sky is grey. But as a punk cover, I didn't realize that last time. Because I think the last time I watched this was before that became like a TikTok trend. God, maybe it was a while ago that I watched Dawson's Creek for the first time. It's so funny. There's also a plot point that I didn't really cover. God, is Joe about to be mugged again? There was a plot point I didn't cover where Audrey got so drunk because she got so upset with Pacey. She basically wasn't conscious anymore. And some guy was taking her to his room and Jen was like fighting everybody who was trying to get in her way. And whoever the fuck this guy is that seems to be her current love interest. Again, he's there for like 2 seconds and then disappears because this season is a very strange season, like chronologically. So, I mean, at the very end, we get them like years later. We get quite a bit of them like years later. And yeah, I don't remember shit about this guy either. But he supposedly doesn't drink. That's all I've really managed to take in so far. I think he's one of the supernatural guys, but I don't know because I've not seen it still. Joey is now doing God knows what outside. Oh, she's found Eddie's apartment, and he's like, "Why are you at my house? Fuck you." He's not really a student. What's he doing? Also, why do Eddie and Joey look so fucking tanned in this season? Why are they so brown? What are you so brown for? I know you're both white. Yeah, he's looking more and more like Pacey as time goes on. Because, like, we know Pacey is smart. He's just not typical book smart. So, whatever it is that's going on with Eddie is that he is book smart, but he's not actually a student. I'm wondering if he couldn't afford either to go to university at all or continue his studies. So he kind of just tags along for free, which I know some people do. And I know, like, if you already attend university, you can sit in on other people's lectures, or like that was allowed at my uni anyway. I never did it, even though I wanted to. But and now Joey is seeing Audrey performing, and she was actually singing, singing this time. Cute. Audrey is upset because Pacey never showed. Bless Pacey. He really feels like a typical neurodivergent person in a neurotypical world. He didn't make it to Audrey and his roommate's gig because when he got in from work, he was going to go change, but he then just fell asleep, literally sat upright on the sofa. Like most people I know have a similar experience to that as neurodivergent people working in very neurodivergent, unfriendly workplaces with very unfriendly working hours. And he just seems like he is, one, completely burnt out because of all of this work he is just not built to be doing, and the kind of people he's forced to be around at work, and having to do the socializing stuff. Otherwise, you're just not respected as a member of this organization or whatever. And like, yeah, if I was Audrey, I'd have been pissed too. I really would have. But it is so sad because she scares the living shit out of him to wake him up. He looks at her for like 2 seconds and he sort of looks upset and like sighs and says, "I missed it, didn't I?" And he genuinely sounds so sad that he wasn't there and that he didn't get to see it, because he's always been very much like a friend community kind of person. Like everything he loves to do is some kind of act of service, act of support for his friends and other loved ones. And the fact that this job is not only taking up so much of his life, because obviously he's got the working hours, but he's also got to study for whatever the fuck that exam was, and also has to keep up appearances with his co-workers who are all very misogynistic, gross finance bros. Whilst he is like a boy's boy, he is a guy's guy. He does act like a dude. He loves hanging out with dudes. He loves doing dude things, but he's not that kind of dude. So it is just sad seeing him not be able to find his place in like any world. He's done so many different jobs. He really fucked that last year of high school. Like he's not going to be able to really get in anywhere now. This job was basically gotten because of his girlfriend's dad. And he doesn't, like, even though he's a prick too, he doesn't want to disappoint her family or her dad, because he's already so like lowly compared to them. Like they have all the money. He grew up without money. He grew up working class, if not relatively lower income. Eddie's back. Eddie's back. Kiss me. So yeah, basically, there's nothing untoward. He's just a dude. Eddie's just a guy. He's just a dude, bro. He's just like a man. He is Pacey, basically. He's not at the university. He accidentally walked in on a class once, apparently, so he just kept doing it. And he's told Joey that he just keeps doing it because it helps stop him from wanting to walk into the street and off himself. So, slay, tackling the male loneliness epidemic one man at a time. uh, Sorry, I kind of that one surprised me. I surprised myself saying that. And like, I love the moment as well where she's like, "Well, I feel bad because he wouldn't have had to go at you and singled you out if you hadn't been nice to me." And he was like, "That wasn't me being nice, Joey Potter. Please, that was me showing off. That was me trying to be your knight in shining armor, bitch. I want to kiss you, and I want you to kiss me because you want to kiss me, not because you're angry at ugly fathead Dawson. I want you to kiss me because I'm so sexy and so intelligente. You can kiss me, Eddie. It's fine." And the next scene after that is that professor giving Jack a better grade. He's getting a B now instead of a C minus. Oh God. So basically, the situation with Jack and his teacher is closet gay, but it was difficult for Jack to come out when he came out during, mid to late 90s, early 2000s, even maybe. So obviously, this man looks at being gay differently to Jack, which Jack can't appreciate, doesn't understand. Makes sense. He's, he's 20. He's like a year or two older. Is he? None of the ages of these fuckers makes any fucking sense. It never has done. I never really understood why or how Jack and what's her face were in the same fucking year. Anyway, so yeah, basically the teacher was like, "I think you could be right. Maybe I was being a bitch and didn't grade your paper fairly." They had their argument, and then Jack's like, I don't give a fuck, man. I don't give a shit, bro. I've had enough of your bullshit. Just get the TAs to fucking mark my work from now on. I've had enough of your shit. Bye. Bye, bitch. Bye. It is the late evening and I need to go take all my painkillers, So I'm getting ready for market tomorrow. So I just thought I would turn on, where is it? Dawson's Creek. Ignore the bin. Whilst I pack and list some things on Depop. Previous episode was another Halloween episode. It's the only one that I think has has aesthetic kind of vibes. I think all of their Halloween episodes are they're all obviously of a particular time, for one. We don't really have Halloween episodes in TV shows anymore, but were people really dressing up, or were they just dressing up kind of vampy, kind of goth? Because they were basically all at goth club or something. Jack has a new guy to go out with now. Jen is going after that guy that I mentioned previously, who I thought was pretty chill, but actually, I don't know, he seems kind of weird. I changed my mind. I think he obviously had or has mental illness, maybe even addiction issues, and that's why he works for this, group / hotline for people who are depressed and shit, or suicidal, and maybe that's why he doesn't date. However, he is not doing a super good job of being straightforward with Jen about the fact that he doesn't date or doesn't want to date people. And like I said, I'm assuming it's either because I've been watching a lot of This Is Us, and a lot of the people in This Is Us have some kind of addiction struggle, and it's come up more than once about how if you're not with somebody long term anyway, don't start dating in your first year or two of recovery, especially not other people in AA. So I'm wondering if it's kind of that vibe, or if he is just still so fucking depressed and suicidal he doesn't think he's gonna be alive past You know, he's trying to survive. He has just clocked that Audrey is depressed because in this previous episode, she overheard Pacey and his painfully British roommate talking about how Pacey doesn't think he's in love with Audrey if he was ever in love with her at all. Which, yeah, harsh, but he didn't know she was there. And he wasn't intending on having that conversation at that point in time. But she waited for him on his car to dump him, and then she hit him. In general, I can empathize and sympathize with her because big mood. I feel like Audrey in this point in time was me a lot when I was in my late teens and early 20s. Like, while she's about to be like the most unbearable version of herself ever, I can't hate her. I'm gonna be frustrated by her and her actions, but like, I can't hate her. But also, like, the thought I had was that, you know, she dumps Pacey but then doesn't get off his fucking car. I'm just thinking, like, girlie, if you want him to leave you alone, you need to let him drive away. You know? So yeah, Dawson, boring, blah, blah, blah. Next episode that I'm watching now is, yeah, where that guy clocks that Audrey is depressed. And Jen is like, she's not depressed. Look at her. Look at her. She's so happy. And he's like, yeah. Depression. Girl, that's depression. like, Audrey is literally blackout drunk. And harassing people. And I think this is a really interesting episode, actually. I think it's probably going to be something from a vague memory. I think this is something that's going to be progressively going on for Audrey, where basically nobody fucking notices, really. Everyone who's close to her does not notice that she's not okay. She did tell Pacey she's depressed as fuck, but it is now not his job to like try to deal with that. He probably should have mentioned it to one of the others though. That's like my main criticism of Pacey in that, really. Because like, you know, not only is it not his job, but also Audrey doesn't want him there, and honestly, if I was Audrey, I wouldn't want him there, like, around me either. So, you know, like, I don't have any blame to place on Pacey for that. But yeah, like, I have a vague recollection that this is something that goes on for Audrey's character, where everybody else is either so, like, again, self-obsessed, or just not paying enough attention to any of their other friends, or just not paying attention to her specifically. Because so far, in this episode that I'm currently on, it is all outsiders who are pointing out that Audrey doesn't seem okay and that they should be doing more. Like I said, that guy pointed out, like, she's clearly depressed. And Jen's like, what the fuck? No, she's not. She's so happy. And he's like, no, that girl's about to go unalive herself. And the other person who brings it up is my boyfriend Eddie. But yeah, Eddie is working like a double shift behind the bar, and like I said, Audrey has gotten herself super fucking drunk, and she's like demanding more alcohol from Eddie behind the bar. Joey's not working, but she's literally right there. She's demanding alcohol, and he's like, no, you are already majorly drunk. And she's like, whose fault is that? And he's like, literally yours. And she's like, well, fuck you. And he's like, I'm literally going to cut you off. I'm not serving you anymore. You're underage and you are fucked. And Joey's like, oh, why can't you just give her one more drink? He's like, she's just nervous about going on stage. He has the justifications for it. And also, like, this is his job. Like, his full-time job is working there. Like, why would he want to further risk his employment if he thinks that she's gonna get so drunk that she's gonna be like violently ill or maybe assaulted and murdered, you know? And then she starts mouthing off at him and throws a beer bottle at him, like at the side, which breaks everywhere. And he's like, right, get out. But luckily the British woman comes along. Even she's like, hey, we've been up there doing sound check. Do you think we're doing that for fun? No, we're supposed to do that anyway, so we're about to go on stage. Shall we? After they're gone and he's cleaning up the broken glass, Joey's like, I'm not her keeper. And he's like, no, worse, you're her friend. Honestly, I don't think I fully really appreciated that the first time I watched this however many years ago. But honestly, what he said, bitch. What he said. Like, sure, I'm not going to be telling people how much they should drink, but if my friend looked that fucking drunk and managed to throw a beer bottle that broke everywhere, if anything, I might have been like, hey, maybe you should literally go home. Let's go home. Or like maybe get some air. Do you want to get some air? Or go for a wee and maybe get splash some water on your face, you know? But like, he was so real for that. He was so real. Because, yeah, like, no, Joey's not her keeper. But they are supposed to be, like, very close friends. And Joey does not seem to see any of these red flags going on with Audrey's behaviour. And she knows that her and Pacey broke up. Like, she found out earlier in this episode. So she knows the cause, or at least part of the cause. Like, why would you... I don't know. I think it's a good conversation to have because, like, a lot of people don't know when to be more firm with their friends and how, like, actually sometimes you've got to give people tough love occasionally. Like, I would classify some of this as tough love in a way because you need to, like, she's not going to listen if you ask nicely, you know? You've kind of got to, like, really get her to listen to why she should go home and should not drink anymore. And I think this show goes really badly from my memory. Audrey's just a kid like the rest of them. She's just like 19 years old. She comes from a lot of money, a lot of privilege, a fucked up rich family. She's been able and allowed to get away with a lot of things, but also she's never really actually had the kind of support she needs. Yeah, and like I feel for her character a lot. I would consider that a lot of her experiences are very similar to a lot of mine when it comes to like friendships and dating and stuff like that. That I, yeah, feel very similarly to how she has expressed her feelings in some of these recent episodes. Okay, Joey's helped Audrey throw her guts up in the bathroom. And now she's like lashing out. Obviously, she's going to do that. And like, I don't necessarily think that you should put up with this sort of behaviour long term from people, okay? But I do think you kind of need to suck it up, at least initially, and admit to where actually you have been fucking up. Because she says, like, what kind of a friend doesn't know that I broke up with my boyfriend? And instead of going, you know what, yeah, you're right, I did fuck up and I know I've already said sorry, but I will say sorry again. Instead, Joey goes, you know what, I said sorry for that. And it's like, Joey, that is not the time, honestly. She's not even really mad at you. She knows she kept that from you. And as well, there's probably some weird layers to this because they both dated Pacey. Maybe she didn't want to reach out to Joey to talk about it because Joey is Pacey's, like, big love in his life. Like, she's not wrong, is basically the gist I'm getting at. Audrey just really, really got her good with one. She said a whole load of other things and then mentioned something about her boyfriend, i.e. Eddie, and Joey just goes, Eddie's not my boyfriend. And Audrey just goes, and I think it's really interesting that that is the only thing that you had anything to say about, like, comment on or something. And like, so true. So true, girl. So true. You gotta. I am so confused. I think I was confused when I watched this the first time round. So they're all at a No Doubt gig, which my confusion is, it probably wasn't the night before, but previous episode ended with the guy Jen is after, who, yes, has a history of alcoholism, he went to check on Audrey to see if she was okay. Like, she was literally in front of him and Jen, and Jen was like, I'm going home. I don't give a fuck about that bitch. Bye. Didn't even acknowledge she was sat over there. So he fucked off over there by himself, which seemed nice enough to begin with. And then what we find out is that night they slept together. Like, whatever. I really don't give a shit. He kept turning Jen down. And, like, regardless of what the reason actually was, like, whether it's because he just wasn't interested in Jen or whatever, like, I really don't care. But he accepts the invitation to go to No Doubt with Jen, even though Jen does not understand boundaries at all. She tried kissing him in the previous episode, even though he was like, no, I don't want to date anybody. Like, some of the things she said were like nice and fair enough. Yes, like, give yourself a chance to be somebody different. However, stop trying to force him into doing anything. Just leave him alone. Like, you're embarrassing yourself anyway, but also kind of being ready. And I thought your issue was with all of these other dudes being rapey with girls. So not a you problem then, Jen? Not a women problem that they can also force themselves on men? But anyway, so they're now all at the No Doubt gig. Literally everybody's there. Dawson, his new girlfriend, except they didn't get in because their tickets were for the next night. Joey and Eddie, except Joey left her fucking tickets in a different coat, but luckily for her, Eddie's dad works there and lets them in backstage. We've got Pacey's roommate, Jack's new boyfriend, Jen, Audrey, and alcoholic guy whose name I literally have never taken in once. For one anyway, Jen was like, oh yeah, you should come, Audrey, you know, just because all that happened doesn't mean we're not friends, I want you to be there, we're gonna have the gays separating us from the breeders, but then she immediately invites that guy, and obviously there's like a weird vibe going on, but Audrey just wants to move on with her life. At the gig, alcoholic guy, whose name I can't remember, is asking Jen loads of questions about Audrey, and she's not clocked at all that he doesn't give a fuck about anything she's saying about anything or anyone besides Audrey. He then spills the beans that they'd slept together. Don't know why. Jen confronts Audrey, and Audrey's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know you liked him that much, and I was really drunk. And Jen's like, I don't give a shit about your excuses. I don't want to talk about this right now. I just want to let you know that I know. And then she's being a fucking bitch. This guy won't leave her alone. And her and Pacey have kind of like they're not together again, I don't think, but they've like resolved some of their like issues that they were having, Audrey and Pacey. However, dude, whose name I don't remember, corners her again at some point and starts having a go and is like, well, I do think he really could give you a blah blah blah, you know. And she's like, my guy, it literally doesn't matter why I slept with you, but I am not interested in you. You don't feel this way about me. This is the first time you've had sex in a long time, and that's what you feel. And I'm like, she could be true. And he's like, well, why didn't you tell me you had a boyfriend? Why did you spend the other night with me when you were a boyfriend? And then Pacey comes out because he's like, oh, where's Audrey? Is she okay? And he finds them in the middle of this argument, and that guy's like, if you just treat her better, blah, 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 blah. So Pacey punched him in the face. My one thing is, they were fucking broken up. Did they like cut this already filmed scene and move it? And then just didn't fucking think about anything that doesn't make sense here? Because I don't get what the issue is on Audrey's end of things. Like, yes, she slept with this guy. She did not have a boyfriend. That's why it's not really an issue. And he wasn't actually with Jen, regardless of how Jen feels about it. But why has nobody corrected that point? Pacey hasn't corrected it yet. Jen hasn't corrected it. Audrey hasn't corrected it. They're all just there talking about it as if she had slept with him when her and Pacey were still actually together and she hadn't literally just fucking broken up with him. Like, it makes no sense why this is happening like this. They were broken up. Okay, there we go. The fucking stupid British roommate of Pacey and Jax is the fucking first person to say, "You're not together anymore, Pacey." Right. I can't remember. So, do Pacey and her fuck? £5 on, yeah, probably. See, at least Jack is like making sure somebody gets Audrey home safe. Like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? He's literally talking to his date. Like, yeah, but you sure you don't mind taking Audrey home? No. And even his date is like, well, yeah, I mind, but like, I'm not gonna just fucking leave this girl alone. So they're both leaving separately with different blonde women. Like, that's a whole joke that they both made. But it's like, when Jack is the only one to give a shit about somebody's well-being and ability to get home safely, like, he's not the most responsible or like unselfish guy, you know? Like, it's just wild. Yeah, like, they are literally setting up Pacey and whatever the fuck British girl's name is. Also, her accent is so unbearably bad. She can't be British. It's like the kind of fake British accent that American actors put on is so painfully not like even remotely correct, and often is smushing a few different accents together that I find it hard to try to recreate because it's just so not accurate. Because a lot of the times they blend both posh accents and common accents basically together, and they just sound unhinged. They do not sound real. There is not a place where people sound like her in England. Also, I had this thought. It's weird that there's so many British people on Dawson's Creek. Not a single black person. Like, we don't see Joey's family ever again. We obviously only had that black principal with his daughter for a very short time. But, you know, diversity, British people, because Dawson's also still working for that annoying British director. But there is not a single racially diverse person in the main cast or even supporting cast of these seasons. They are all white. All of them. Also, Eddie has told Joey to use his empty, quiet flat to study because everybody is in the library and everywhere else she's gone to study has been too loud for one reason or another because it's the end of the semester. I don't see what the big deal is about some little office party. Or what? You know, it's that Bridget Jones accent. She ain't fucking British either. It's this weird... It's a very tight accent that these people put on. It's very tight in the throat and like in the sinuses. Or what? And it's very tight in the mouth. I know! I look ridiculous. Feel ridiculous. It's $300. I hate them. I hate them so much. I'm sure plenty of our I'm sure fucking mental, and I can't say words. I'm sure many of the British actors who are putting on American accents are doing a shite job as well, and I can't tell the difference. But why do they always sound like that? Like, part of the tightness of the voices is the voices are actually really high pitched when like, sorry, British people apparently don't have deep voices. I should be talking like this from now on. It's because, yeah, they have, like, the harshness of some, like, Cockney, particularly just in the pattern of how they speak, but occasionally whip out, like, a what? Which is more of a RP posh what rather than a common what. You know, I feel like they're blending the wrong ends. They're blending the wrong end of the words because they're what and really enunciating that T, but we go what water bottle because like yeah the typing out accents sort of jokes online, the one where they do for English with water bottle or like water bottle really like exaggerates it into water bottle, and like that's funny because it's just some text, and also like reading text the like pronunciation is different in every accent and language. But yeah, I just really like okay, I'm so sorry for Emma Watson in the one with Charlie in it. Oh, Wallflowers. I'm so sorry. Even I could tell that was a bad American accent. I am so sorry for Emma Watson in 2012 in The Perks of Being a Wallflower. Her American accent was diabolical, but please stop casting Americans to be you have British people over there. You have British actors over there. Please utilize them. I'm looking up these cast members. Like, I need to know now. Is she British? Or is she not? Oh, do I know her from Buffy the Vampire Slayer? And there's literally nothing about her on here. Oh, wait. She's a native of Sacramento, California. Not British. Are we surprised? Not at all. Not in the slightest. And also, I think I get a pass for having a terrible Australian accent because it is not my job. It is not my job to be a believable Australian. I'm just having some fun. Water bottle. Hal Ozsan as Todd Carr. Yeah, he grew up here. But yeah, he was born in Northern Cyprus, but raised in the United Kingdom in East London, Havering. So I feel like at least his accent makes more sense, especially to like where he grew up. Like I was saying earlier, his accent is more of like the more common, like through and through. Not trying to say that in like a mean or rude way. I just genuinely don't actually know how else to say common, because it's, you know, like work, because is it working class? I don't know. I mean, like I have kind of a little bit of a mixed accent from down south. Oh, he was educated at Brentwood School in Essex. Yeah, that also makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah, he's got a little bit of an Essex sounding voice, doesn't he? Okay, well, now I've done that, and now I know. He's kind of hot though. Like, he's so not sexy in the show, but like, I can't show. Where is it? This photo of him on his IMDb. He's kind of hot though. How old is this man? He must be super old now. He was in 6 Feet Under? Man in the Flower Shop. Should I rewatch 6 Feet Under to like talk about it? Do you want, like, would it be fun to vlog it? It was a really fucking weird show. It was a really weird show. It's got the adult Van from Yellow Jackets. I love her. I need you all to know that Eddie is the perfect man. I can't remember at all why they broke up, but he is the perfect man. Joey's like, by the way, me and sex, like, and he was like, you know, I wasn't expecting anything. I don't mind taking it slow. It's very chill. Don't freak out. Don't overthink it. Like, it's fine. Perfect man. Why is Joey so mad at Eddie? Because she's late to her exam that they both knew she had, but she decided to participate in sex instead. And she's mad at him. Sorry, Joey, weren't you supposed to be the only one who had their shit together? And there we have it. End of episode... Oh, come back. Episode 9. Pacey took his fake English flatmate to his work party because they all had to bring a hot girl and it was a competition. He didn't tell her, and honestly, who really fucking cares if that was the point or not? But yeah, they were making out on the couch by the end of the fucking night, but Jack's come home and stopped it, thank God. I didn't update when I was watching it because I was really high. I was trying to chill out, go to sleep. Also, sorry I'm chewing this gummy whilst recording. Well, I've got a fucking ad break. I just had ads. Can't remember what happened. Things were going great with Joey and Eddie. Pacey still having some weird thing with his roommate. Jen is volunteering for that helpline with that guy, but can't stand him. So Dawson once again thought the girl he was fucking was a more serious thing, and she was like, lol, no, what the fuck, bro, no. Jack is just being Jack, you know. Audrey is still unwell. So then it's the Christmas break. Audrey misses the last flight to California, so Joey's like, come home with me, that's a good idea. Basically everyone has gone back to, where do they live? Where did they live originally? Cape Side, that's one house. Except Jack, who goes to Europe because that's where Andy is, and I think their dad went out that way too for Christmas. So we don't have Jack for those episodes, but we do have Jen and Grams stay in Boston because they still live there. Oh no, they were at the Christmas dinner. Where are they staying? But yeah, we do have Jen, Pacey, Joey, Dawson, all returning home for Christmas. And then Dawson's mum puts on this big Christmas dinner where everyone's invited. Pacey's family are worried about his job. His gay brother keeps calling him sleazy, and he's like, yeah, but are you, like, sure your workplace is a trustworthy place if they're able to just throw that much money at people? Because now Pacey's actually making money. Oh yeah, Audrey's there as well. Also, lol, the fact that I was like, where are 0 black people? And then Christmas episode happens, and guess what? There he is. Silent as a mouse. Not a single line. Poor man. Joey's boyfriend makes a surprise visit. Joey's dad doesn't like him or doesn't think he is good enough, which is ironic because Joey's dad is a criminal. And everyone's just like, bro, shut the bro, fuck off. Fuck all the way off. And yeah, they're all at this Christmas dinner. Audrey has been getting really fucked up on alcohol and apparently Dawson's mum's painkillers? She's just been taking painkillers out of the bathroom. Loki, why do you keep painkillers in the bathroom? I never understood this. I never understood this about American, like, TV. Why do you have a medicine cabinet in the bathroom? Like, my medicine is here. Those are literally my Dosset boxes full of pills, and this drawer is full of my medication and my vitamins. Why would I put all of that in a bathroom? You know, like, and look, I have water here. And a glass, you know? Like, why would I have any of this stuff in the bathroom? You guys are weird. Also, it would be a lot harder for people to just turn up in here and start taking my pills instead of going to the toilet. You know? So yeah, then Audrey starts going off on one. Initially it's very funny because as well she's like defending Joey's boyfriend from Joey's dad, who starts being so rude about Eddie, because Audrey was telling Joey's dad about Eddie and was like, yeah, he's kind of like the perfect mix of Dawson and Pacey. And because he's now between jobs, I can't remember what the reason was exactly. Oh, I think he punched a lecturer in the bar, so he lost his job like right before Christmas. Like the dad's asking him loads of questions. He's like, oh yeah, I do not currently have a job right now. So their dad's like, right, Dawson, didn't you get him a job on the set with you? Seeing as your director friend is also here. Is that cool? But in like a really snide, shitty way, not in like a oblivious, helpful way. Trying to be helpful way. So everyone's trying to get Audrey to shut the fuck up. Even though I don't disagree with the shit she was saying initially. She admits and thanks Gail, that was her name, Dawson's mum, for the just easy access to pain meds and alcohol. And then she just starts going off at everybody from the friend group who's currently there. And I just think it's really funny. Like, yeah, a lot of it is harsh. But like, she's clearly not been very well. And this is also why I don't think inviting her was maybe the best idea if you were going to go and do a huge fucking dinner with everybody, including her ex-boyfriend, who's also your ex-boyfriend, Joey. But also, I know you definitely shouldn't have left her there over Christmas at university, because I think she would have probably killed herself. On purpose or not, I think she would have died. Then when she's done, she gets up and leaves, steals Pacey's car keys, and tries to drive, and instead just drives straight into the house. Straight into the house. Luckily, nobody died, nobody got hurt, everyone was fine. And initially, everyone seemed concerned for Audrey. Didn't last very long. Pacey's trying to get his brother to, like, cover it up, just blame it on Pacey. Like, don't bring Audrey into it. I think because she has a lot of money, she probably would have been able to get off quite lightly and just sent to rehab or something. But there we are. I mean, she does eventually go to rehab, I know that, but whatever. Eddie does not bring Joey home. Like, the intention was that he was spending a few days with Joey, or like a day with Joey, then he was going to bring her to his family for a little bit. He was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I probably should have trusted my intuition to not do this, because it was too much too soon. We don't know each other that well. We haven't been together that long. It's a lot to not only meet your entire family and my entire family at Christmas in particular, but also like this stuff is why. And also the fact that Eddie is not in like the best life setup at that current moment in time after losing his job. He kind of makes a bit of a point of like, you've got shit to deal with and sort out here. I.e., for one, mainly Audrey. Look, it's like, you invited her here and you've just witnessed this all happen. You're not leaving her alone with your family, your friends, and your friends' families. She's your responsibility. You brought her here, but also like other reasons too. Obviously, the whole Pacey and Dawson thing. Don't worry, Eddie. I think you're perfect. And you can call me. I don't have any other men going on in my life. And yeah, I've had like a whole market and stuff today. I've been up since 7 a.m. So I'm just watching the rest of an episode. Joey keeps ringing Eddie and he is not answering and not returning the calls. So I think this is basically where Eddie is kind of like unofficially broken up with Joey. And that's that, really. Also, Pacey went to the aquarium and saw his terrible fake British roommate. And now they're bonding. Disgusting. Yeah. Joey's managed to get into his apartment building. The door was open and all of his stuff is gone. And like, honestly, the real reason for this is probably that the actor just got better work and he couldn't do the filming schedule, most likely. But yeah, it does really suck that there was not really any kind of resolution with them two. I think this is it. I don't think anything else happens. I don't think anything else happens. And like both of them have dealt with and helped and taken care of that professor's daughter, and Joey's with her right when she finds the empty apartment, and this girl doesn't really have a clue what's been going on. She's guessing and making assumptions. It's all like mostly incorrect. Yeah, it's just a bit sad, really. So the start of this episode is basically Audrey realizing she has a problem. Calls Dawson for help because she's in that sort of area and she knows that he will be awake and can help her, and he does. And when she finally ends up back at school, she goes and apologizes to everybody, and I think that is an important thing to show in media because, like, yes, she was mentally ill, there were lots of things going on with her, she was not well, so I don't think she can be fully held responsible for her actions, but she still did a lot of shitty things, really hurt people who didn't know how to help her. A lot of their attempts to help her weren't great ones. Like, I don't blame her for a lot of the things that she felt or said to some of them, but it is still important to acknowledge, like, done something shitty, even if it's because of a mental illness, you still need to acknowledge you've done those things, apologize to the people that you care about, and show that you understand those things sucked and why, and hopefully get treatment and learn some tools and be better, try to be better. Because yeah, I think like even if you didn't mean to do something, there is still like always an element of feeling bad, feeling guilty, feeling shame for doing those things, for hurting those people at the very least. Yeah, not a lot of people do that, and I mean honestly, not a lot of these characters do that either. Yeah, I liked that. And they all run after her and give her a hug, and they forgive her. So it turns out I was wrong. Harley, the lecturer's kid, literally went and got him from Worcester because they found a manuscript that had the address of his parents on it, and they rang the house somehow. Apparently they also had the phone number on that letter, and he answered the phone, and Joey just hung up the phone. Harley went and got him and brought him to the bar, and that's as far as we have so far gotten with them. Pacey kind of screwed over his budding romance with shitty English woman because he likes money. Valid. I think he's about to really fuck it up though and sleep with his boss's girlfriend or something like that. Audrey apologized to her band and they let her back in, and she is on a tour bus party and she looks really bored. So I hope she stays sober. Oh my god, the party is before the gig. Why? Nope, she started drinking and she's taken some unidentified white pills from some guy. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, a few things have happened. Audrey is fucked. I think she's about to bomb that whole thing. But yeah, we know addiction and recovery and stuff are not linear and relapses happen, you know, all that sort of stuff. But she's about to lose like the only thing she gives a shit about as a passion, as a job, whatever wise. Harley got Eddie to come back under false pretenses. She told him that Joey was pregnant. They did get a resolution, so I was wrong. I don't know if any more is going to come of this because every time I think it's over, it's not. But like, I just feel like this is a bullshit end. It's a bullshit end. I really hate and don't understand the whole, like, I'm not going anywhere, I'm not going to amount to anything, you deserve the best man in the room, not the guy who takes out his trash or busts his tables. And it's like, number one, who gives a fuck about any of that shit? Who gives a fuck? I don't care. I don't care if you're university educated. I do not care what level your official academic education is. There are so many incredibly intelligent people who self-taught. And also, intelligence isn't just like academics or things like that. Intelligence is so many things. Like, we need people to be bin men. Like, we need people who do those jobs. And yeah, it's not glamorous, but I would rather date a bin man than whatever the fuck these guys Pacey's dealing with are. They are nasty, disgusting. And yeah, this whole like, I'm not good enough for you, I'm not going anywhere. It's just like, bullshit. What do you mean you're not going anywhere? For a start, if you think Joey is going places, you can tag along. I know, shocker. He's like, I'm going home. I lost all of my money. I couldn't get a job. They turned my electric, heating, water, everything off, and I had cockroaches. And she's like, I don't give a shit. He's like, well, you're going to get everything you ever wanted. She's like, I wanted you. And he's like, well, you shouldn't have, and you shouldn't, because I'm a piece of shit. Also, he wrote a novel that I think is inspired by Joey, which she's reading. Like, it got rejected. Like, literally so many manuscripts get rejected. Like, you need to find the right publisher for a start, or just continue working on your craft, my love. I love you so much, but please stop. And now, the thing that I started the clip with, that we had all the foreshadowing for, but I did not remember this. Pacey has been taken to a swanky party to schmooze and he's had his ego stroked because he's the bestseller of the team. Now they're in a private meeting at this party with a guy who is a client of theirs and makes a lot of money off of what they do. They want to put Pacey's name on every piece of paper. They say they're going to pay him a lot more. It's the same job role, but they're just going to start putting his name on paper. And that means fraud. Because what else did I watch? They did that. Chippendales. I watched the dramatization of that. This happens in that. I'm pretty sure. I think it did. I don't remember what happens. That whole plot line basically ends up amounting to nothing. No fraud actually happens. It's just the fact that Pacey invests all of his money, all his clients' money, even Dawson's money, into the vaccine guy who he spoke to in that meeting, and they don't get the FDA approval, so all of the stocks plummet in value. There is nothing actually about fraud that happens, which I think was something that happened a lot in this season, where they set up a lot of different plot lines, but they just didn't follow them through. Like, in the end, it basically just amounts to they didn't train Pacey properly in like what to actually expect from the stock market for yourself and for your customers. Like, yes, you're pushing the sales of certain people that we work with to make money, but that doesn't mean it's a sure thing or not. So yeah, this just went nowhere as well, which is so weird when they set it all up and he ends up dating the journalist that he met at this party later on down the line. Again, I don't think she did anything either. I think she was trying to get more information about the workplace and the people working there, but I don't think Pacey ever gave her anything. I think Pacey is very gullible because he's not used to being praised for anything, like literally ever. So I think whenever people stroke his ego in that way, unfortunately, he falls for it every single time. And remember, he's only 19 or 20, like they said that other episode. But he's a baby. He's a baby. Like, if anything, is genuinely malpractice. I don't know what the word is. Malpractice to hire men that young for this kind of job. Like, girl, no. No, when the police catch on to this, if they truly believe a 19-year-old could do or pull all this off. Okay, roundup of some things that I give a shit about. I was right about Pacey. Lecturer's daughter had a good idea where she was like, show Eddie's stories to him, see what he thinks / what he can do to help Eddie not give up on himself. They do that, and he thinks that they are not bad and that he could probably help get him, or he's got a good chance of getting on this really prestigious writers workshop program thing in California. He won't talk to Eddie though. He's like, nah, this one's on you, bitch, bye. So Joey has to go to wherever the fuck Worcester is to tell him the news, and he's like, oh, you showed those things to him? She was like, yup. I don't know if they've actually made up or not, because she was like, it's too late for that. But then when he told her he loved her, she was like, I love you too, bye. And that was that. They won't get back together. Joe was still mad at him. Okay, this is also only a few days later. I don't know how all of this suddenly happened all at once, but he got a place on the course. There's scholarships as well for him. Great. His sister lives out in California, so he's going to stay with her for a while whilst he does this whole thing. So, like, yay, amazing, great. But also, like, you guys are so confusing. Make no sense. All of this on again, off again with Joey and Eddie is getting on my nerves. She's like, you made it perfectly clear how you feel about me. And he's like, I don't think I did. I have never cared about anybody the way I care about you. And it's like, he literally told you he loves you. Where is this coming from? You know, it's that annoying bad writing where it's like, that just literally didn't even happen. They did get their, like, resolution, their ending, and it was, like, sad but sweet. I don't think anything else happens. Joey made him take her and Audrey to California with him because Audrey didn't show up to rehab. So she wanted to make sure she actually got there. And like, loads of stuff came out, blah, blah, blah. Mostly, Joey was just annoying me a lot in that episode because she would go from like being really kind, sweet and happy and being nice to Eddie, then immediately being like, I don't know how I can hurt you because you left me. It was just annoying. They just kept doing that over and over again. Shut the fuck up, girl. They've basically broken up. Joey just made like a comment like, oh, same old lovable punk, because he's like being really daft about this huge TV. And he just gave her this look, and it's like, make him think about what his housemate said when they were almost gonna be something, that hit the past him that he's so ashamed of. Actually seems like a really nice person that people want around, not the person he's feigning to be. It was the episode to reignite the Joey Pacey love affair, because we saw Pacey having a party, not really sure why, just felt like it, I guess. Joey got really drunk, was causing absolute fucking havoc, which was so funny. And then they were playing Spin the Bottle. Joey and Pacey were meant to kiss at that point, but then somebody knocked over Pacey's new big expensive TV. But don't worry, they made up for it later. My babies. My babies. This is the Superstore episode. I can feel it in my bones. I mean, they're literally in a superstore that's about to close, so not hard to guess. My glasses are so dirty. Couldn't tell. So, yes, I was correct. That was the big department store episode. I think something that I couldn't fully appreciate last time when I watched it was the scene where Joey is shaving Pacey's face. Because, like, for one, it was already, like, very obvious symbolism anyway, that she was like, yeah, why don't you just shave your face, because I miss the boy I know, I thought he was gone forever kind of vibes. But then also when she decides to, like, actually be like, you know what, actually, let me shave your face. That whole scene is revolving around such an intimate act in a completely non-sexual way. And like, for one, just in general, I think it's just a very sweet act, but also generally is highlighting the many factors and facets of their relationship with each other. We see all sides of them as a duo, romantically and non-romantically, throughout that episode. There is obviously the current them. They also discuss and reflect on the past. And then obviously after this episode, it kind of leads to a weird, awkward, do we just pretend that didn't happen? Or do we actually just like talk about it, make a decision? Do we, whatever. And they kind of slowly start to decide that they are going to give it another shot. Like, one of the biggest aspects of that has been that Joey's like, oh, you want a clean slate? And he's like, not necessarily, but I just don't want things that happened in the past when, he was literally a child to impact their relationship going forward or constantly hang over their heads. So it's him kind of giving her that out if she wants one. Like, if you feel like you can't trust me now because of things I did then, then okay, we move we move on. But if there's a possibility that we can move past this, then that's what I want to focus on. And like, that's what Joey eventually kind of agrees and decides, that she also feels like she won't be thinking about the things that have happened, but she'll be thinking about all the things that could happen, which could be read as negative or positive, really. Yeah, they decide to start giving it a go. And I think it's really interesting using that and comparing it to Dawson as well at this like moment in time. He just did this whole movie where originally he was the director's assistant, then he also had to direct some parts, nearly lost his job, didn't do very well anyway because it went straight to TV, and now, you know, he doesn't have a degree and he's somehow going to be working as a teacher in the high school back home. But like, you know, the fact that Dawson has almost reverted back, or, you know, not lived up to his potential, and he bumps into Pacey because Pacey was going to drop in and check on Dawson's mum because Pacey was in town because his dad had like a medical emergency, so he went back to Capeside to check on his dad. Kind of started to mend his relationship with his brother. This episode as well that I'm now on, Dawson is trying to pitch the film of his youth, basically. Like, I know I literally just watched it. I'm not sure I really caught the meaning right, but I think Pacey said to Dawson that Pacey would like basically produce, i.e. put money towards a project that Dawson actually wanted to make. So I guess maybe that's why Dawson decided to pitch it now, both what Pacey said, but also the fact that he feels like he's gone backwards and hasn't lived up to any of that potential, and is looking at kids and talking to kids in his film class who remind him of himself, remind him of what he has like lost as a creative, in like a desperate attempt to claw this success back, to claw this, I don't know, status maybe? I don't know. He has gone backwards and he continues to live in the past. He's pitching this movie to that lady who I don't remember exactly who she is, but we know her through that director he was working for. And we don't know yet what this film was supposed to be, but she was like, look, if you want anybody to be on board with this project, the guy that you need to impress is just like a really gross, horny bastard. He won't be interested unless you throw in this, or this. And the last suggestion she has is have one of them have an affair with a teacher. And that's where it's like, ding, ding, ding. Because then he's like, I could do that because that did actually also happen. And it's just that sort of, it's always how Dawson is like always there, always ready, somehow, even when he doesn't know anything's going on with Pacey and Joey, he's always ready to just cause a problem and to like sabotage. He's always ready to sabotage it by somehow unearthing old drama and triangles and problems that they have long put to bed and have long not been a problem. And he always loves to live in the past. That's always kind of been his problem, is, you know, like one of the issues he always had with Joey is that he could not accept or perceive Joey to grow up and change. And also the same with Pacey, to be fair. He always saw Pacey as the fuck up, the zany sidekick sort of character to his leading man hero, the speed bump on the way to his true love story with Joey. And it's just always very interesting how he always writes the love story between him and Joey, even though him and Joey have barely had any actual love story. It's all just been talk and daydreaming, I guess. Whereas numerous times Joey and Pacey have had like genuine experiences together romantically as a couple, where, yeah, Dawson is always kind of holding the others back or expecting the others to be held back somehow. And the others are just, I've really kind of just long outgrown him. Every time you think Dawson has finally grown up, he reverts back to this. Every time he gets a slight backfiring or not a completely perfect outcome to something he's done, he reverts back to that childish teenager who was very selfish and didn't see Joey or Pacey as like real people. And also like using their real lives to make art. But he never asked their permission. Like, he never asked their permission before doing the things. It's always afterwards he's like, oh yeah, sorry, but I just did it because this is my story too. Like, there's a lot of things that were nothing to do with you, which one of those things was Pacey's affair with their teacher. Oh, so currently he's gone with the stripper option, which did happen once, sort of. Eddie, what the fuck are you doing back in town? Eddie, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. Joey says shit that just gets on my nerves sometimes. We had an episode where Joey was working as Pacey's assistant at work, and she was there one day and could not actually act like a professional in the workplace. Like, genuinely, just like absurd behaviour. And then now Eddie's turned up like, I want you, I need you in my life. She's like, you walked away. Yeah, because you told him to. You set it up so that he had opportunities in life. You helped him get that opportunity in California. That was you. Why are you mad at him for taking the opportunity that you told him to take and set up for him? Like, you're the one who decided against long distance, you know? He clearly wanted to keep dating you, and you, for some reason, just said no. Makes no sense. But either way, when she told him she moved on, he was like, oh, okay, I get it. So at least they didn't make him into an asshole, unless they're about to make it worse. For my life to be over. Recently on Twitter, there has been this conversation around, like, education pushing boys out of it, particularly higher education. And obviously, just, number one, straight bullshit. But if you want to look at Dawson's Creek for an example, who went to further education out of everybody we meet? Joey, Jen, Andy, even though I don't see her anymore. Jack, the gay guy. I know technically she had a place bought for her, Audrey, but like, Pacey never went, Dawson dropped out. And this was in the early 2000s, so... Joey Potter, what the fuck are you doing? I'm so confused by this season. She's now gone back to Eddie, who I genuinely didn't think was that much of this season. What is happening? There's surely not many episodes left either. I was on like episode 18 just now. I'm now on episode 19. Yeah, the one thing I will say that Eddie has going for him that Pacey doesn't is that Eddie has accepted who he is and is following his dream. Whereas Pacey has still not actually accepted who he is and has not found or is not following his dream. That would be the main difference between these two men. I'm so confused. What I hate more than anything is when the writers of a show fuck up so badly when they write the plot that the only way to get out of that plot point is by making one character so out of character to cause problems and make the audience hate them when you know that character would just not behave that way. I am here representing Eddie. What have they done to you, Eddie? What have they done to you? They should have just left you alone in California. What have they done to you? After Joey goes back to get back with Eddie, I don't know what he's doing, but it seems like he's almost living with her at university. I don't know. But he's constantly going like, why don't you want to get with me? Why don't you want to get with me? Why don't you want to get with me? And it's like, for one, I don't think his character would behave that way in this situation. he would notice that she is holding him at arm's distance. Something is up. But he wouldn't be behaving like that. And then we've got this awful, like, I don't even know who these guys are. One of them looks like the weird YouTube psychoanalyzing guy who analysed Trish Paytas and Ethan Klein. If it's really him, then, well, these guys have no hope of any resolution because this guy sucks. But it's these two guys answering questions about, I don't even really know what. Sex, maybe? Relationships, maybe? Something like that? I don't know. And for some reason, Eddie has started an argument about Joey not having sex with him again, but in the middle of the audience at this event. So they've now dragged the two of them on stage to talk it out, and he's there calling her emotionally unstable. Like, I know he was a bit of like a neggy prick at the very beginning, but he did not speak to her like this. They've just basically turned him into like some really misogynistic guy, which he has literally never been. He's always been very, for the most part, chill and respectful of her choices, regardless of whether they were what he wanted or not. Yeah, like, this is one of those things where I'm like, this should have just left it cut off. Yeah, maybe when he went to California, or even when he came back and she turned him down. And that could have still caused issues between Joey and Pacey as it is, without her needing to get back with him and to assassinate his character. Like, literally anybody else could have been here in this moment. Also, Jack's now being kind of weird with his boyfriend. Now they've seen one cute gay guy who hit on his boyfriend and is now hitting on him. And it's like, is he really about to cheat on his, like, boyfriend after all of this? Like, now the guy on stage is talking about him leaving twice. It's like, yeah, okay, one time he left of his own accord. The other time he left because she told him to leave. I think it is that guy from YouTube. Dr. Drew? I think it is. That's really strange. That's really weird. Is Audrey about to come in and, like, save everybody from all of their embarrassing things being just, like, in front of the entire school by talking about her own personal shit? Seems like it. Eddie's 25. Last I heard, Joey was 19. Eddie's too old for her. I thought he was, like, at least a few years younger than that. Like, come on. Why? Why are they always so old? Like, I thought he was... I mean, I know everybody is playing younger than they actually are. But I thought he was maybe 23. You know, like... He was in a class a bit above Joey's, like, grade level. So that could mean in their third or fourth, i.e. final year. And I know obviously anyone can go to university at any age. But the implication was that he was less than 25. That's still quite a big age gap for someone so close to 18 years old. That's like 6 years. I don't know how this whole thing has been turned on to, like, gaining Joey's trust. Okay, so her actual problem is she knows he has to leave again for California. That's what the problem is. I'm so unwell. I feel like they're also now just character assassinating, I can't even remember his fucking name, but Jack's boyfriend, who is Jen's boyfriend's friend. He has been so nice and chill and calm and relaxed the whole time. But now suddenly he thinks Jack was flirting with some gay guy because they had some misunderstanding. And the way he's approached this issue or misunderstanding or whatever has been quite, like, aggressive / over the top. You know, for one, going on mic in front of everyone saying that he was obviously flirting with this guy. You haven't even had a conversation with him yet. And then after the event, you start, like, having a go at him again. So, like, I'm not surprised that he thinks that you're going to break up with him over something so minor as he says. Like, to then throw in his face, wow, so you think we're having a mild argument? We're having a mild argument, And that's what you go straight to, is breaking up. And I'm just like, you didn't approach this as like a mild argument. You approached this as like ending it all worthy. And I'm with Jack when he said, for someone who's supposed to have good communication skills, you're not fucking utilising them right now, bitch. Fuck. Like, maybe he was. Maybe he was. But you truly do not have enough to say he was or not. It is wild to say, either apologise to me or break up with me over that. That was wild. That was, like, Jack has been a shitty person. Okay? He has been shitty. This was made up. This was, like, just blown out of proportion. This was just, like, a load of bullshit that didn't even happen. He only let that guy sit next to him in the first place because him and the boyfriend had miscommunication about where they were going to sit. So the boyfriend didn't turn up in time. And he was like, okay, fine, yeah, sit there. He's supposed to be here, but I don't know where he is. Like, so now Pacey is dating the journalist who he met at a work party a while ago, who was like, they're gonna fuck you over, lol, XOXO, because he's not seeing Joe anymore. There's this really interesting moment right now. We're coming to the end of the semester. Joey's taking her last exam. She's fallen out with Eddie again for some reason. He wanted to take her backpacking around Europe, you know, the usual thing that Americans do, apparently. And she was like, just so resistant to it for a bunch of reasons that mostly just didn't make any sense. So they got in an argument about it, and he was saying earlier in the episode about how her interpretation of the book she had to write an essay about called Catch-22. I've never read it, I don't know what it's about. But he was saying that her analysis of it was bleak, and it's actually a story about hope, blah, blah, blah. And she said, well, it's bleak the way my lecturer teaches it. And Eddie challenged her, being like, okay, so you're not going to have your own analysis on this? You shouldn't have to fit your teacher's personal opinions to be able to get a good grade. So that was before they had an argument about going travelling together for the summer. And like, he was right. He was saying to her as well, like, we have the rest of our lives to be making money and being responsible and being adults. We have a summer before we will be apart because he's going to be in California for his course and she'll still be in Boston for the rest of her course. So he wants to go and do something exciting and amazing with her for the summer, because it's like, you know, there are ways of doing that, or there were back in the day, of doing that cheaply, but they still can go and do all of the things that they want to do. She wasn't happy with some of the things that he was saying. Can't really remember what they were arguing about, but then yeah, she tells him to fuck off. She then is invited to speak to her lecturer, and he is basically saying like, you know, good job, you've managed to up your grade well enough to not lose your scholarship, her academic scholarship. And even he says her analysis of that book is bleak, and it is meant to be a story of hope, and tells her to read the section near the end where it's like, you know, all this stuff happens, yeah, and it is bullshit. However, oh yeah, because part of the argument that they were having was Joey saying that he can't keep running away from the problems he has by doing things like going away to Europe all summer. And it's like, why does that always have to be him running away from problems? Like, he ran away from one problem once, and Joey has just put that on every time he's ever done anything or suggested doing anything. And one of the parts of the quotes in the book is, I'm not running away from my responsibilities, I'm running to them. There's nothing negative about running away to save my life. And I just found that a really interesting aspect, particularly when a lot of things these days, people are talking about this idea of anti-intellectualism. I just think that this is a really interesting example of anti-intellectualism in some ways, where instead of ever forming your own individual thoughts or opinions, you are only ever trying to emulate everybody else around you so that you can get acceptance, praise, a good grade, a pat on the back, whatever. So instead of using your own fucking brain to question things, to read into things, to particularly media, like obviously I don't necessarily mean this is the case for every single thing that ever happens or every single thing that people says, like people say, mental illness, I can't fucking say words apparently. Like instead of developing critical thinking skills, this is basically just developing memorization skills, which is always something that I've personally been very terrible at. I cannot memorize anything for shit. However, I can ask why. I can say, but why though? Yeah, considering usually when we discuss anti-intellectualism sides of things, it's poor education, a lack of parental input and support, a lack of general systemic support, the education systems as well in general just being poor, bigoted, whitewashed, edited, propagandized, and also including obviously other aspects about different marginalizations, like this other broader conversation I mentioned earlier about boys being left behind, when honestly, I mean, usually as well, I feel like the number of lecturers for universities are most often men, but school teachers are more often women. And I remember reading very recently that a lot of this issue with how boys in particular see women will obviously translate to how they see women in general. So like if the majority of people teaching boys are women and they have no respect for women, why would they do well in school? But on the other end of things, if all you're trying to do is do well in school to do well in school, to be accepted, you're still lacking that critical thinking skill. It is the unfortunate dilemma of like, either end is not the solution. It is a more nuanced, not even a middle ground, but like a combination of things usually. But I just thought it was really interesting because, you know, Joey is considered one of the most educated and one of the more feminist characters and more outwardly outspoken against kinds of prejudice, and is always telling people that they can do whatever they want and that they can do better, they can do whatever they set their mind to, whether it's education or whatever. I just think it's very interesting that she chose to pursue this, particularly as like her dreams are to be a writer, which is really strange that she doesn't have like any critical thinking skills at this point in time, or like she's not using them. Like she's just not fucking using them at this point. And I mean, she is the only character at, one, a prestigious university, and two, with academic excellence kind of scholarship, which are hard to get and hard to keep. Yeah, don't know if there was any particular like end point to that like thing, but like, I don't know, just wanted to discuss that because I found it very curious. Oh, also Pacey has just lost him and Dawson a lot of money. And he's been sleeping with the journalist who actually has a fiance, so... But I'm hoping soon enough he will just go on the fucking record and just move on. Get a job of a decent person, please. Can't believe I forgot as well. Jack's boyfriend, like, officially dumped him, even though he agreed to, like, talk to him. Instead, he sees Jack hanging out with some guy who's just from his sociology class. That's it. And he just loses his shit and dumps him. Like, good. For one, good, because you clearly have, like, a jealousy issue. Leave. Bye. Bye. Now he's just, like, really upset because he's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck was all that about? Pacey is fighting his boss in the office. And so we have Eddie finally leaving the show. Joey decided too late to do Europe with him, but he said something in his note that he left her, because he left her a goodbye note this time, saying like he wants to be somebody who's not afraid of being decisive and making choices that disrupt the world and whatever, and that she's clearly just not that person, or she's not similar to him, and he doesn't want to be somebody who's doomed to make the same mistakes over and over again. And during that moment we were looking at Pacey as he stood outside of Dawson's house about to tell him that he's lost all of Dawson's film money, because he keeps making the same mistakes over and over again, trying to be somebody he just isn't. So everyone's at Dawson's house at the creek. Pacey has told Dawson he's lost everything and all of Dawson's money, blah, blah, blah. Dawson is like, well, this is what you're like. This is what you always got to do. You know, making it about like it's just chance. That's what happens when you invest. If you wanted the money out, you should have stuck by your word when you were asking rather than letting him sweet talk you into carrying on. You know, sorry, that's also kind of your problem. Sorry, Dawson, not taking responsibility for your own shit as usual because you love to blame Pacey. Joey's gone talk to Pacey, make him feel better, but she just said something that made me so mad with everything that's just happened with Eddie. Pissed me off because Pacey was like, I don't really know how to talk to you, particularly when it's been like extra confusing with us recently. And she goes, no matter how much I love you, or no matter how much I love with you, or how long I stay with you, you're only going to remember the moments when I leave. Hello, excuse me, is this thing on? What the fuck were you doing with Eddie the entire fucking time? If not this exact thing. Now we're starting to see everyone's exit plans. Jen and Jack are going to go to New York to live with Jen's mum, who divorced her dad and has a big house in New York, because also Grams has breast cancer and they live very close to like one of the best hospitals in the United States. It's also where where Jack originally wanted to go for university anyway. They're going to go there. It looks like Audrey is going to not stick to the Ivy League school and is going to pursue creative endeavours. I don't know, maybe she does stay at that school. She's now starting to do open mic nights. She can magically play the guitar. Didn't know she could do that. And the three that we don't really know what they're doing is, you know, the main three, Dawson, Joey, and Pacey. I think I'm about to start episode 23, so there really can't be many of these left. It worked. So it's been a few days since I watched the last 3 episodes of the final Dawson's Creek season. I have many thoughts. I would classify these 3 episodes are the entire ending in like 3 parts. The third to last episode is when everybody comes together to create that final film with Dawson at whatever creek. Where do they live again? And that's when we also have the goodbyes to Jen, Jack, and Grams. I think we see, you know, our main trio come to realize that there are lots of things that they just simply cannot change. One of which is, you know, all of the stuff they've been through that has impacted their friendships/relationships with each other. They either need to move on from their friendships or they need to move on from those problems they've had in the past to maintain/sustain any kind of friendship or relationship. It's kind of a big open ending there because we then jump like 5 or 6 years ahead when all of them are 25. And that's something I don't think I fully noticed when I originally watched this season, or the series in total, is that the full story we get is 10 years of their life, because we meet them at 15 and then we finally say goodbye to them at 25. We see the lives that they have now created for themselves. Joey ends up actually being in New York, so it kind of leaves it open to, was she still close with Jen and Jack? Because that's where they went. They went to New York. There's not really much comment on that. They literally could have included one or two simple comments to acknowledge that whether they were friendly or not, or, you know, whether they had continued to like hang out and see each other whenever it was that Joey moved to New York to become an editor. She said that she is now a junior editor. She has this manky boyfriend, whoever the fuck that guy is, disgusting, who, she breaks up with when she returns to the creek. Jen is now a parent of a baby, We don't know who the father is because, after they all went to New York, God knows what happened to CJ. He is not spoken about ever again. So we can either assume that this boyfriend who ditched her with a baby is CJ or just somebody else. It's probably just somebody else, honestly. And we find out that she has a heart problem that either didn't exist before she was pregnant or was worsened through pregnancy and birth, which is pretty common, unfortunately. A lot of people actually end up going through heart failure. But we don't really find this out until she collapses at the wedding that everyone has returned to the creek to celebrate. Whose wedding is it? Well, it is Dawson's mum's wedding. We don't know who this man is, but she's getting remarried, blah, blah, blah. Dawson is filming Dawson's Creek. He is writing Dawson's Creek, and he doesn't know how to end season 1. Pacey has rebuilt the ice shack. Is that the one that Joey's family used to own before it burned down thanks to her father dealing cocaine? I think that's an interesting little choice to have been made. Is like, he could have literally done anything anywhere, but he chose to rebuild the ice shack, the place that the love of his fucking life worked out for most of her youth and her family owned for most of their life. Just kind of says something, He is also just sleeping with every married man's wife, much older than him as well, and he's miserable. Jack is working at the high school there. Not sure why he decided to return. That he's working at the high school, and his boyfriend is Pacey's brother, the cop, ACAB, but does he really do police work? Honestly, not really. But he is still in the closet, so Jack can't be happily, openly queer like he wants to be. Grams is still alive and kicking, but she's getting older. She's still not well. She may not have cancer necessarily anymore. She may be in remission, but she's not feeling tip top. So yeah, that's kind of the update of where they were all at. They were all invited to Gail's wedding. Audrey isn't there, obviously. I mean, if you've read Busy Phillips' book, which I have, she hated being on that show. Yeah, a lot of the people in that show were not kind to her. But yeah, she wasn't there. But it was commented that she was on like some kind of world tour with a band or something. Big slay to her. Respect. They're all at the wedding. Dawson's got his annoying googly eyes on for Joey, but Pacey kisses Joey to try and like get one of his affairs away from him after he got beaten up by several husbands. And Joey's like, with Pacey. I don't know what that means, but I have no more verbalizations for that. And then yeah, Jen collapses at the wedding. Grams was like, oh, she needs to take her medication. Pacey goes, oh, I saw her take that already, like just now. And Grams is like, well, this shouldn't be happening. Well, this shouldn't be happening. So then she goes to hospital, and we find out. I think she's in heart failure and lung failure because of something to do with the impact of the heart condition is also directly impacting her lungs. So they were basically like, yeah, we can't do anything. Lol. Sorry. So yeah, this 25-year-old new mum has to come to terms with the end of her life. And like, I think in Dawson's Creek, they've killed off a lot of side characters over the top. Well, not even that many. They've killed off a few. The two that I can think of are obviously Dawson's dad, and then that horrible girl from school that Jen was friends with who like drowned. But they've never killed off like and Jen's granddad, obviously. But they've never like killed off one of the main crew, like Andy moved to town, but then she moved away. She didn't die, so this is the first time they have killed off a main character, and it's like right at the end of the show. And they also decide that Pacey has to go in first because Pacey is Pacey. He knows how to make everything kind of okay with some sense of humor. But like, that's a lot of pressure to put on somebody, Nobody really feels like they're in the position they wished or wanted to be in by this point in their life. Yes, Joey's career is doing great, but the boyfriend sucks. And again, same for Pacey. Like, his career's doing great, but he doesn't have a long-term partner that he is in love with and invested in. And he also feels like his success in the Bay is basically non-existent because it's in their hometown rather than somewhere fancy like New York or LA. And like, he's comparing himself to Joey and Dawson for some reason. But he's like, why couldn't I have opened up somewhere in LA or New York? And it's like, girl, it's because you are not professionally trained for a start. You don't have any money. He didn't go to school for cooking. Yeah, it just takes a lot of money to open places like that, especially in humongous cities. So it's like, well, at least you have somewhere. At least you're doing something and running something that you love. And then, yeah, same with Dawson. He's still single and he doesn't even really feel like he's enjoying his job, even though it's literally his dream job, is writing the stories that he always wanted to write. And yeah, he's not really living. He's just like barely existing. He's barely there. Nobody's home, babe. And we don't know anything about Jen's career, honestly. There was one thing I noticed in these sort of final episodes that I thought was really funny to me, because in some of those episodes in this last season, there were phrases like, I think, sexual relationship, where they'd clearly cut out the sexual. So it was like a weird, you could tell something had been cut out. So it was just strange that things like that had been cut. But they said the word fag like 3 times in one episode. A choice was made, and like 2 of those times, was it 2 of those? At least one or 2 of those times was in reference to like the fag hag dynamic between Jack and Jen. And I also think, like, obviously as well, this show is about soulmates, not just in like a romantic sense. And I think that's what wakes up the remaining characters as Jen is dying, really, to realize actually there are many platonic soulmates. So this is where Joey and Dawson realize that actually, yeah, they are platonic soulmates. And the same with Jack and Jen. Jack is saying to Jen, like, she's his soulmate, even though he's with somebody else romantically and he's gay. They've always been soulmates, and they've had the fag hag thing going on for however long, and they all pull together to like give Jen everything she wants in like her final days, because they don't know how long she has until she's going to die. Dawson helps her film a tape to give to her daughter. Jen and Jack agree that Jack will raise her. This whole thing also causes, I can't remember his name, Pacey's brother, who's Jack's boyfriend, makes him realize that, there's so many things to worry about in life, that being gay is honestly not really one of them, particularly in the area they live in. Jack is openly gay and has been for many years, and like eventually people just kind of got over it. It also leads to him coming out, and it leads to, yeah, Joey and Pacey coming to their own realizations too. Like, Pacey realizes, oh yeah, you know what, I get it now. I should have been able to make myself happy and be happy without Joey. I should be able to, see worth in myself and not just rely on what Joey says to me. And then Joey, on the other hand, is like, yeah, like, don't you've let me off the hook so many times with this, babes, but like, I have always known who I really should be with. And it's kind of implied that it's him, but we don't find out until, yeah, the end of that final episode, where we do see that he is now living in that New York apartment with Joey. God knows what he's doing. Is he working as a chef? Has he opened up his own place? Who knows? It literally is never said. We have no idea. And I think Jen's whole story in those final episodes is really sad, because, like I said, they've never killed off a main character before. And I mean, even the characters they have killed off have often been like, very sad. Even if you're not sad for that character dying, you're sad for the characters who loved and missed them. And for the most part, she's like, I don't want to get bitter. I don't want to be angry. I want to keep having fun and having a good time in my final days, hours, whatever. I want to spend time with my daughter and with my friends and with my grams and my mum, etc. But then at one point, it just kind of bubbles over, and she is just so angry. she's so angry that this is her life. Like, after everything she's been through, all the horrible things that have happened to her, and all the horrible things people have done to her, and all the awful things she's done to other people, but also learned from and changed since. And now having a baby, everything, like the rest of her life, her future, and her child's future is basically being snatched from her. And yeah, she just has a moment of being really, really angry with Pacey. I can't remember what the fuck he says, but he says something that makes her feel a bit better. But and then yeah, she just dies in her sleep, with Grams asleep in the chair in the room, and that's who wakes up to find her. And like this final season has some interesting elements to it. I remember reading somewhere, I think, that they, because all the cast basically didn't want to fucking be on the show anymore, but especially Dawson, they were trying to centralize all the plot and stuff around Joey instead, which you can tell because she basically introduces and says goodbye to her season with like a little diary like voiceover. And she does that on, I can't remember if that's the third to last episode that she does the voiceover for. I think it must be. And then these last two episodes are just like on their own. It's really a bizarre setup. Like their Dawson's Creek's ending is just very long, and I feel like unnecessarily so. I think a lot of those, especially the last two episodes, are very much fan service, which again, like I don't necessarily think fan service is wrong or has to impact the quality of a show or whatever. But yeah, like it very easily could have ended with that third to last episode when they were finishing that film. They could have found a way to like quickly tie things up as to who ends up with who and whatever. But I understand that there was a lot of stuff still for the characters to be developed, but nobody wanted to participate in anymore. So they had to kind of try and write it in somehow. And it only made sense for it to be years later because, you know, you can't do all of that reflection like completely, like suddenly, right at the end. Those characters needed years to settle into that new life that we never really got to fully see, to then have some life changing realizations when Jen was dying. We kind of just see the very final ending is Joey and Pacey watching the final episode that Dawson hadn't written yet of his Dawson's Creek. Both of them calling him to congratulate him, blah blah blah. So like they were clearly friends again as a group. But yeah, that's kind of it. Like we didn't get to see that satisfying story of Joey and Pacey actually coming back together properly, which I think a lot of the audience probably would have been a bit pissed about not getting. Like, especially seeing as this season had so much back and forth with Joey and Eddie that was genuinely just completely unnecessary. We should have just sent him on his way a long time ago, but they just kept dragging him back for no reason. Once again, that is my experiencing the final season, especially considering I could not remember most of that season. I thought I remembered more. Apparently not. But yeah, I don't think I have a lot to say. I do kind of find, yeah, like I said, this last season was just kind of a little bit eh. Like having read some of those interviews and stuff, you can really tell that this final season, a lot of the cast and crew were just not invested anymore, but it was still going because it was a moneymaker. Like they needed a final season to like round off all of the stories. Like I don't disagree with that, but yeah, there was just a lot to that season that was just completely unnecessary, kind of boring, wasting time that could have been spent on other plot lines that I think the audience of the time would have been more interested in. And I feel that way about a lot of shows. Kind of feeling that way about Yellow Jackets at the moment. Like season 3 was kind of shit. At least they did know when to call it quits. But that final season was just not great. Could have been so much better. It was better in my memory, and I think it's because I forgot most of the extra shit they added into it. So yeah, that's kind of it, really. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what other like series or films or whatever you would like me to look at, discuss, maybe do a similar kind of series where I do like a vlogging reaction, commentary, analysis vibe per season or something, old or new. I'm trying to like work on the video ideas that I've had like prepared for a while, but then just had no brain capacity to actually complete because no ADHD meds. So yeah, you'll be seeing a lot of like just very random video ideas coming up. Anyway, that's it from me this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.